really we are living in the future now. We're living in the future from any time in the past. We can go back 500 years, 100 years,
living in the future.
and see this time as it is now as the future for that past time.
Yeah.
And likewise, where we are now, this is how it is, this is how we are, if we were able to wind back the clock from some point from where we will be in the future to this very present time. And yes, it is all one. In fact, Sir George King, the spiritual teachings of the 12 blessings and all of the teachings that make up the Aetherius Society were given through the yoga master, our master, His Eminence Sir George King. And I had the privilege in the latter years of his life of taking care of Sir George.
Oh.
And I remember in his earlier days in the Aetherius Society, he was, before I knew him, he was known for saying "move and live, move and live." However, as he became older, he was more inclined to say "slow down, don't rush." And I'd gone into the kitchen, obviously in a rapid mode, and he came in a short while after, and he said, "Don't rush. Why are you rushing?" And then he said, "There's only God's time, which is now, and it's all happened anyway," which was a remarkable statement from a master. It's all happened anyway.
Now, how did Dr. George King get the title Sir?
He was given that title by various chivalric orders. In Europe, he was actually later given other titles by orders of chivalry, and a European prince who read one of the teachings, the 9 Freedoms, and recognized that here was a great yoga master, and he wished to confer upon him particular titles. I think we've covered a good portion of the overall background of the 12 blessings. Again, as I say, these have been given 52 years ahead of their originally intended time. So anybody, such as the people watching this program, who are being introduced to the 12 blessings, are discovering this incredible series of teachings ahead of the crowd, if you like. Because I think that come 2010, they will be far more widely appreciated certainly than they were in 1958. Because you can imagine, we'll go back to 1958. It was obviously a very conservative time in the world, relative certainly to how it is now, far more traditional in its values. And so to speak of Jesus coming from another planet, although in the Bible he does say, "I am from the bright and morning star," which of course is Venus. But for people, as I say, back in the 1950s, these concepts were extremely radical, and to that extent largely unacceptable to most people's tastes. But with the whole flourishing and the quickening that's taking place, these things are far more rational. And so come 2010, I hope and firmly believe that they will be far more readily understood and accepted, as they need to be.
Yes, and we seem to be opening up more and more and more as the years go on. Actually, before we start, and for the people who might want to actually say the 12 blessings themselves, what kind of environment should they set themselves in?
Sure. Absolutely. Another wonderful question there, Christina. Basically, obviously everybody's welcome to come to our temple here in Hollywood. Otherwise, one wants to have a peaceful surrounding insofar as one can. It can be in nature, or it can be in one's own home. One wants to ideally prepare oneself. We use visualization practices as well as mantra, and become still within oneself, and then go through each of the blessings in turn, which I can explain how that is done.
So how would a person do the 12 blessings for themselves for a personal practice, say?
Well, there are obviously 12 blessings. At the end of 9 of these blessings, which is basically a text. One thing, actually I'm glad this came up, one thing about the blessings is that they are literally a cosmic extension to Jesus' Sermon on the Mount of 2,000 years ago. And to that extent, they are blessings. The first blessing is, blessed are they who work for peace. Okay. And after 9 of these 12 blessings, Jesus gave a prayer. Otherwise, he gave this wonderfully poetic description of the entity that he is describing. And so the way that we perform the 12 blessings, we begin by, again, raising our hands, as I explained, to send out the energy, also to have the heart chakra open so that energy can flow out. And you begin with the first blessing, which is, blessed are they who work for peace. And with your eyes closed, you visualize on this physical realm and around this realm, if you like, above the earth, a whole group soul, the entity of those who are working to bring peace to mankind and to the world. And you can visualize this for up to 2 minutes or less, and then you join in with the prayer which Jesus gave. Now, obviously it takes time to learn these prayers, but it's thoroughly recommended that one does, because having learnt the prayer, which are incredibly beautiful and descriptive, you're able to channel more energy into it. Mm-hmm. And send out more energy to mankind in this sense. You begin with the blessing of sending energy to those working for peace, but the prayer is very much geared to raising humanity. Yeah. That's the first blessing. Then you go into the second blessing. Blessed are the wise ones who walk through a dark and ignorant world, spreading their light. And then you visualize, again, energy going to the wise ones, masters past and present, who have come through to humanity to literally spread light into our world. At the end of the second blessing, there is no prayer. So then you can either say, so endeth the second blessing. And then you go into the third blessing, which is, blessed are they who love. So then you go into the third blessing, which is, blessed are they who love, for they are the disciples of God. And again, you close your eyes, or you would have with the eyes closed. You're then sending energy to those who love, literally again on this physical plane and above this plane, and the masters, but all the workers in one way or another who are involved in radiating love to the world. Mm-hmm. And then there's a prayer at the end of the third blessing, and you join in with the prayer, which again is directing energy to raise humanity. So almost all of the prayers, in fact I think all of the prayers, are entirely about having humanity, mankind, all of us realize the divinity, the divine spark that is within us all, and contacting that and then manifesting that. And that is the essence of all of these prayers. Then in the fourth blessing, it takes a slight cosmic shift because it's a blessing to the planetary ones. Blessed are the planetary ones who have at this time sacrificed peace, sacrificed friendship, sacrificed their very salvations for you. And here we are thinking of masters like Jesus and Buddha, Sri Krishna, whoever, who have come to this world in sacrifice, literally, but to help and to raise mankind. And so again, one is sending energy to these beings, these intelligences, and then again, joining in with the prayer. The fifth blessing is to the devic forces, or rather, it's to the thanksgivers. Blessed are the thanksgivers, for they turn great tides of energy and direct these towards their objectives, which is giving thanks to the devic forces, the nature forces, which create balance on this earth. It's said actually that we have the weather conditions, we have the conditions, all conditions that we have on this planet because of the energy that mankind collectively sends out, which karmically comes back to us, and in one way comes back to us through the weather. And when, rather than if, but when humanity is living from that God, spiritual, divine spark within oneself and manifesting that, we will create, through the devic forces, perfect, ideal, if you like, weather conditions, all things upon and around the world. So that's the fifth blessing.